It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Tokpe Mark Odige, and with me is beautiful in pink, Alaja Nima Akashat Sibiri.
Only.
So, this is just I want to just glasses no collector. So let me first of all do the sober news. I lost a family friend, a mother, yesterday, Alaja Adesoko. I pray that our Grand Sergeant, this woman, when I got married to that neighborhood, made sure that I didn't feel alone. On her own, she would reach out and she would check on me. And when I had kids, support system put in place, tight one. So I really am going to miss her. I pray for her. I pray till daybreak.
How old was she?
She's in her 70s. She had a major surgery and then she didn't come out of it. Oh, we pray, Allah grants her Jannah.
Amen. So rest in peace.
Switch now.
Switch it.
Gossip.
It's okay. Give us.
We have been waiting for this.
That's human life for you. Yeah.
So me and Moriah went for the Evolving Women Conference and Moriah was moderating.
You're not
She was so comical. This is a side of Moriah that most of you don't know. The VC Lasso was seated at the table before me and she just couldn't believe Moriah dropping it. So there was one part where one woman came, one Moriah had said, okay, I want to involve the audience, come and ask questions. And the woman came, took the mic, you know Nigerians now. My name is so I want to greet A, I want to greet B, I want to greet C. The woman just went on and I just said inside, Moriah just went, so where's the question? And the VC almost fell from her chair. I said, that's our nature. And the moral goes again, this part, you know, women, you need to do self-love, this. I don't even know what a spa is. I said she doesn't actually. We have to force her to have time for spa. And so the VC couldn't believe the corporate loves and all of that.
Moderating. Like
she's
like when she sits on a panel, you are going to have an amazing conversation happen. So I think she just, and she came back and she didn't even give all this. She didn't see all this part, but she had fun.
But I'll save it for later.
She's been doing it for so many years.
Yes.
It's just a part of her.
Comes out.
But it's also good to see that side of her.
Yeah. Beautiful. Auntie?
Yeah.
You did a pink, you did brown. Did you guys have?
I would have loved this for me.
You said you were joined by
Yes, I am joined by Ramatu. Yes, manufacturer in Nigeria.
Excellent.
Yes. So
Excellent.
they've lifted the curfew finally.
Fantastic.
So they just lifted it this morning. So very soon, at least, our things will start coming, and hopefully. And so far, I've just been at home. My kids, especially my son, is even tired of me at home. Because wants me to go. You know, after the show, I go to the office. So I've been because nothing to do, no packaging. So I just stay at home. So I've been disturbing him. You know him, when he goes to wee, he just wheeze on the floor. I had to now make him. I said, no, you have to, today you are going to wash.
You are over-supervising him.
They don't like
Boys, it was like, he now had to come and ask me. Yes. He now came, he was like, Mommy, when are you going to the office? I said, no, I'm not going today. You are going to wash the bedroom today. Only you.
Only you.
When you go to wee, you just wee on the seat, wee everywhere, you know. And I was like, you're not going anywhere. So he walked yesterday. So,
I'm laughing because that's the drama in my house too. I am on their case.
Your boys.
They are seriously doing, you know,
the work.
Chores. They don't like it one bit, especially my son. Well, you know, I'm seeing different sides to my son. I'm seeing his more empathetic side. He's growing. And I now understand the difference when they say allow people to develop. I always say, this is your frontal lobe. Finally, it's catching up. I'm so happy for you. I said, that's how we hail each other's frontal lobe. Your frontal lobe is teasing.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, but you know, yesterday we were sharing on our group all the throwback. It was so beautiful,
nice.
Beautiful memories. And so I found the video of the surprise birthday you guys had thrown for me. Oh my goodness, it was such a lovely feeling. Let's do more of those sort of things. But then it shows that
you come and
it was BC that started it.
Honestly. So I saw how skinny I was looking. You know sometimes you're like, I've come a long way. When I saw how, I was like, man, why am I doing this to myself? How will I lose weight and add and I'll lose and I'll add, like, and it is me. But my kids did banana bread.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes, so I enrolled them for this online cooking class and it is interesting. So we're getting to spend time together. I told myself I'm going to commit the 1 to 3 hours they will need to experiment the cooking. So we measured everything, flour, sugar, mashed the bananas and broke the eggs. All three of us, if you see them wearing their chef hat and apron. And we did the banana bread, but I've not used my oven in a long time, so I actually need a new oven. The banana bread burnt, but we ate our burnt banana bread like that. We enjoyed the burnt banana bread, and today we're looking forward to doing moi moi, as in.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so they're going to learn different food during this holiday period, recipes during this holiday period, and the particular lady doing the class has done it in a way that even down to the Maggi teaspoon of salt, so that the taste is balanced. So even if you've never cooked before, just follow the measurement to a letter and you will get the right result. So I'm looking forward to today's experiments. I'll give you feedback by tomorrow. We'll take a quick break.
Bringing up your boys.
I forgot.
Well, yes, I want my boys to be good husbands.
Yes,
and any woman that marries my boys, you'll be praying for me.
My birthday gift finally arrived. Thank you, ladies.
Oh.
I got my clay water dispenser.
Oh.
Thank you. So beautiful. It fits
You'll do
in
a
my
video
kitchen.
for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic.
Very lovely. Thank you.
We'll take a break. When we return, we'll go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We're just starting with the front page review of the newspapers, and we're starting with The Nation. Major headline: protest. DSS arrests 7 Europeans, steer clear federal government tells foreign nations, and killer soldier held. Then other stories, you have the CBN injects $876 million into the forex market via Dutch auction. Nelfund records highest student loan request in 24 hours. Polytechnics COEs get governing councils. Smear campaign behind $10 million bribery allegation, says Deputy Speaker. So, what story are we going to be starting with?
Can we start with the major headline? Something that threatened our peace so much that I almost lost sleep.
Our sovereignty.
Yeah, so the DSS have picked up 7 Europeans, Spaniards, for, inciting the protests that happened up north. And, they said 7 of them, some Spaniards, some Polish, that's some from Poland, for holding up the Russian flag during protests and allegedly raising it. According to the spokesperson of the secret police, Dr. Peter Afunaya, he said that they are being interrogated right now. And federal government has also used the opportunity to warn foreign countries of any interference in the cost of living protests in some of the parts of the country. He said it's inappropriate that it's an inappropriate action and to be meted out to. Sorry, why am I stuttering?
Take your time.
Okay. Foreign entities residing in Nigeria will be meted out appropriate action if they are found to directly or indirectly play any role in the demonstrations that are happening in the country. The government has also launched an investigation into the violence that trailed the protests that began a week ago. The police also picked up 6 Spaniards, so 7 Poland's indigents or residents here, Polish individuals here, and 6 Spaniards from Spain were also allegedly involved in this protest, and many demonstrators in Kano were also, Kano and Kaduna states.
We knew it was foreign
well,
we did not know
where it was coming from.
I mean, were they waiting to join, or did they hear about the protest
there was
and
an
they came?
announcement, and then they brought the flags.
Okay, let me not say what my conspiracy is. That's
Tell
why I'm
me.
stuttering, because as I'm talking, I'm thinking it
of your
so
okay.
much. So, but the DSS has said as a
arrested them, which is a
responsible
good thing.
organization, they owe it to as an obligation to do some verification and ascertain basic reasons for all the circumstances
they need
for
to
some
put
of
their
the cases.
pictures and their,
Yeah, they should
the
put it
paper,
to.
because
Yes.
that's what
If
they would have done to us.
Yes.
Exactly.
They should put it back and
Tinubu
about
even
them.
Their
specify,
name.
stay clear.
Yeah. But it's just paining me inside my mind. That's my conspiracy. That
You
would
tell
allow
us, tell us the
somebody
break.
post flag.
Tell us do the break. Okay, so I have House of Reps. So apparently there was there's story going on that there was a shouting match between the Speaker, Abbas, and the Deputy Speaker and Mr. Kalu. And there were so many allegations. I had not heard about it until when I was reading the papers today, but it seemed that it was going viral and many people were making different allegations, insinuations about it. And so the office of the Deputy Speaker says that, that first of all, the office is open to provide answers to official issues, and also if there's any need for clarification, they are available to do so. They mentioned that they had a meeting via Zoom, and it was a noisy word-to-word thank you tour at Ugweke in Bendel Federal Constituency of Abia State. And during that meeting was when people alleged that there was a fight between them, that there was nothing like that, that they have the minutes of the meeting for them to, look through it. And then some of the allegations of a $10 million bribe. So the fight, people were insinuating that had to do with an allegation of a $10 million bribe. They say it's an elaborate hoax, a joke taken too far. It is ludicrous, grossly spurious, and provocative. I like this politician's language. It should be completely disregarded. There's no report of any indictment, and nothing close to it was mentioned with regard to the committee, their leadership, or membership. They said that the faith columnists and mischief makers have been working fruitlessly to smear Kalu and put him at crossroads with the speaker. They described their relationship to be a filial one, that the speaker also calls him brother, confidant, and friend. So why would these stories be going out? And they've also threatened that we should be careful. Faith columnists and mischief makers should be careful before they go the legal route
against them. So let me take the story about the CBN. So of course, the Central Bank of Nigeria has injected $876 million into the forex market. They said it's in line with the current transparent access to foreign exchange. So they've received a lot of bids, and in a retail Dutch auction system, directly facilitating forex sales to end users, this amount of money has been released. They also mentioned the fact that the economy has attracted $225 billion in the past 6 months, which is a 55% year-on-year increase. So while we might not have gotten the dollar to as low as many Nigerians would like to, there is a lot of intervention taking place by the CBN to ensure that they are ameliorating the challenges that might be brought up by the hike in Naira-dollar exchange rate. So I know you have a story.
Yes, I have a story on the Nelford records, the highest student loan. They said the 9,687 students applied for the education loan from the Nigerian Education Loan Fund within a span of 24 hours. I think when they opened the portal on May 25th, and people were applying, but I think people didn't know that they didn't believe it was real. So when they started hearing from their friends, they now, So they said the Nelfund Director of Corporate Communications, Oseyemi Oluwatui, made this known in a statement yesterday. He said within 24 hours, the fund recorded a total submission of 9,687 registrations. And then he now said that it's an overwhelming surge in interest. It also says that it underscores the critical role that Nelfund plays in enabling access to higher education for students facing financial challenges. He also said that the high number of applications confirms the fact that financial constraints is a major issue that many aspiring higher education students are facing. So let's see how...
It was on our show yesterday, and I was like, when I saw that, I said, could it be that when we spoke about it on the show, that now made everybody go and apply? But whichever way, we're excited for the students who will be getting the necessary funding to continue their education. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with the front page review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the front pages of the paper, and we're moving on to the Punch. Major headline: hunger protests loses steam as DSS grills 7 foreigners. The police crackdown halts protests. US-UK demand dialogue. Northern governors relax curfew. And Sanusi blames Kano looting on intelligence failure. Oh, exactly what I said. Moving on to other stories. Crude oil crisis, National Assembly to probe NNPC Dangote refinery. CBN dumps 12 months foreign policy with 876 million auction. Fuel queues may linger till next week. That's from marketers. Nigeria urges ECOWAS defense chief to curb coups. Olympic, gallant the Tigress bow out in quarterfinals. EFCC quizzes Ogun officials over government fund, and power generation hits 3-year high of 5,000 megawatts. I don't understand. How did we have a shutdown just a few days ago and then it's hitting a 3-year high of 5,000 megawatts?
They overgenerate.
Did they overgenerate? Fantastic. Let's continue.
I have the Senate to investigate. National Assembly said to probe the NNPC and Dangote refinery. So the leader of the Senate and the chairman of the Senate ad hoc committee on, what's this? They didn't state. But Senator Okoyemi Bamidele said that we will investigate the alleged economic sabotage in the NNPC, in the Nigerian petroleum industry. Miriam, did I take your story?
That's fine.
They give me side eye.
Go ahead.
Well, I took this story first.
That's fine.
Well, so they had a meeting on Wednesday, yesterday, at the National Assembly complex where the Senate leader was talking about it. And in that session was the Minister for Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, the GMD of NNPC, Mele Kyari, the Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream of the former DPR, and a lot of them, stakeholders in the industry. And the Senate leader was decrying the $1.5 billion that was, allocated for the maintenance of the Port Harcourt refinery under the former President Muhammadu Buhari. And he said, even though this huge amount was spent, no result is showing. And you can see the long queues that will continuously suffer presently now at all our filling stations for a country so blessed as us. He said, we also have a hand at a grievous issue of national concern that directly borders on the importation of hazardous petroleum products and dumping of substandard diesel into the country. He continuously talked about how this money marked then would have changed things. He said 1.5 billion for the turnaround maintenance of Port Harcourt refinery, yet this investment did not yield returns. And he insists that they will do everything possible as a committee to investigate. He insisted nobody is untouchable. He said the task of ridding the petroleum industry of malfeasance is urgent, and we must, the petroleum industry of malfeasance is urgent, and we must be carried out in the spirit of nationalism and patriotism. And said we are ready to carry it out with all sense of honor and responsibility. I cannot wait. I am hoping that this is, sincerely, honestly done.
Okay, they're also saying that they would like for this to be broadcast live so that we can hear. NNPCL is also saying that, yes, they want it live so that they feel that they've been accused of too many things so that people can know exactly what is going on. I'm looking forward to it too, and I hope that it will be done in all honesty, yes, and sincerity.
I feel like it's linked to the fuel queues lingering longer. Who has that story?
I have the story. So the fuel queues may linger till next week. So they asked the question, they said the National Publicity Secretary Chief Ukadike Chinedu was responding to the question. He said the process is still ongoing, so filling stations and trucks are not functioning optimally. This is because of the fear of attacks on stations by protesters. He said during the NSAS, when the trucks and this moved, that they were burnt down, and some filling stations too were burnt down. So to avert all these things from happening, he said they just have to wait, and also that they also had security agents who had advised them not to go ahead and give filling stations petrol for now, that it will attract protesters to the stations and they may start looting and burning at the same time. So they are saying that by next week, that most filling stations will have petrol, and then the queue will subsidize a little bit. So let's see how that pans out.
EFCC has invited some officials of Ogun State government in connection with an ongoing investigation. And it was after I'd finished reading it that I thought I should have taken another story because there's really nothing to it. It's been confirmed by the Ibadan zonal office that yes, some officials of the state were invited to chat in respect of an ongoing investigation, and they have gone home. And then when the spokesperson for, I think they also tried to contact the special advisor on media and publicity to the governor about it. He says he's currently out of town and not aware of this investigation or meeting. That's it.
End of story. Sadly, the Tigress lost at the quarterfinals. I was really hoping that they would get to...
It's okay.
Yes, because they did well. They were very gallant, you know, but life happens. But we're still very proud of them, and I really would love for the president and the presidency to celebrate them. So moving on to the Vanguard, major headline. Stay clear of our internal affairs. Federal government warns foreign powers. We've taken that story already. Reps committee chair denies giving 1.7 million bribe to Speaker Abbas. We've taken that as well. Federal government spends 600 million on fuel importation monthly. That's from the Minister Edu. UK assures Nigerians of safety amid riots. Well, we are yet to determine that. So who has what story?
Okay, well, I have the Minister for Finance, Wale Edu. He said that the country currently spends $600 million on fuel importation, and this was at the event yesterday. And the Minister for Information said that the Bola Tinubu's administration's primarily focus was not to impose hardship on Nigerians, addressing all of the issues that they came with. And I was wondering, 600 million on importation, and we pretend we don't know. We took the 900 million importation of food every quarter several weeks back. And the minister said fuel subsidy was removed on May 29, 2023 by the president. The poorest of 40% was only getting 4% of the value, meaning that the subsidy paid was not saving the poor man. And he said that the situation was the reason why the president had to remove it. $600 million on fuel importation monthly was too expensive to run as a government, and so they had to take a tough decision. Okay.
So the UK people telling us that we are now safe.
Okay. Is that in the Vanguard?
Yes.
Vanguard.
Don't take Telegraph.
New Telegraph.
So let's move on to New Telegraph then. Yeah. Major headline. We're taking the story about the hardship story, which is all the hardship protest and what has happened so far. That's the major headline in New Telegraph. But we have other stories about the fact that reps earn 600,000 naira monthly, not 900,000 naira monthly. Apparently that came out. Chairmanship, I didn't bribe speaker with, we've taken that story, $1.7 million. Benue PDP summons Suswan, ex-speaker, others over misconduct, anti-party activity. We're not part of the economic sabotage, NNPC, NMDPRA, others tell Senate. Drinking water from plastic bottles can increase blood pressure. That's a study. And in other news, Tinubu appoints governing council for 13 federal universities and institutions. Majority of Nigerians not benefiting from fuel subsidy. APC, weak institutions slowing down renewed agenda reforms. And Nigeria presently under civilian dictatorship, says Onovo. So what do we take now?
I definitely took the plastic story. Scientists have said beverages that are packed in plastic bottles should be avoided based on study findings showing that it may increase blood pressure as a result of microplastics entering the bloodstream. They said that scientists, the planet has been polluted by a number of things. One of them is microplastics. That's small particles of plastic found in vast majority of food and water supply. And they're saying that they're the most harmful substances affecting human health adversely. So, and once they get into your bloodstream, they've been linked to heart health, hormonal imbalance, and even cancer. So be careful of plastic packaging for your food and drink.
Please pure water, I'm sure.
Stuff.
All right. I have the British envoy, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, received our the CEO, the chairman and CEO of the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri, yesterday in Abuja, and he reassured that Nigerians were safe in the UK amidst the riot. He also mentioned that 12 British towns were affected by the riots, and that reported that 400 people have also been arrested, and that 60 special courts were created, including the UK police and legal operatives have been established to address, the issue. So those 400 people will be immediately tried under a special court instead of usual delays of court processes. He also assured that the United Kingdom was home to people of different countries and races and would remain liberal to qualified persons who wish to live and study and work in their country. He also mentioned that 430,000 Nigerian visa applications were successful this year, and I had to come a direct number, but the NIDCOM boss confirmed that no Nigerian has been affected by the disorder, adding that the communication with the British High Commission and diaspora groups had reported no casualties. So I'm grateful for the work of the Madam.
At least updating us.
Yes. I took the story of power generation that hit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I took the power generation because I even saw on Twitter somebody posted that I've started putting off my freezer, that the light is...
I'm not understanding. No.
You
don't have light for 2 days.
2 days until, don't you used to put off freezer?
But there's...
I used to put it
so
on.
the Minister of Power...
on and off.
So the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has announced that Nigeria's power sector generated 5,105 megawatts of electricity on July 27th, describing it as a 3-year high. He announced it at a meeting. He also said that this is an improvement from the previous capacity of around 4,000 megawatts or below. He also said that their targets, the target he wants to achieve is he wants to get to 6,000 megawatts by December. He also said that power is not something that should be left alone to the Ministry of Power and its agencies. So now they are now working closely with the Ministries of Environment, Water Resources and Sanitation, Budget and Planning, and Petroleum Resources, particularly the Minister of State, Gas. He now said we are focusing on generating power in a sustainable and environmental friendly manner. Okay. This is why we talk about renewable through solar, wind, and small dams.
Fantastic. So moving on to Nigerian Tribune. The Minister, NNPC, Dangote, others take fights before Senate panel, and we're expecting to see that broadcast, as they have said they will do. Federal government spends 600 million monthly on fuel importation. We've taken that story. Let me find a story we haven't taken. Nigerian rates 6th globally, first in Africa in tuberculosis prevalence. You know, when I first saw Nigerian rates, I thought something positive was about to happen, but it's not. So NNPC, NYSC declares Akwa Ibom coordinator driver missing. Shetima Obasanjo Southwest orders to attend Osun Industrial Investment Summit in September. Army begins investigation. Detained soldier over killing of 16-year-old boy in Zaria. Sad story from the mother saying, my son just finished writing final secondary school exam. And it's such a sad story, but we're happy that the speed of trial within the military. So who has the story on tuberculosis? Okay,
the Women Development Initiative held a meeting with the NUJ in Bauchi yesterday, and they said that Nigeria was first in Africa in terms of victims of infected with tuberculosis and 6th in the world globally. They also had the statistics to show that in 2023 we had 486,000 cases of tuberculosis and 320,000 plus, that's 66% of it were notified, while the others were missing. So usually they come in, they're diagnosed, they disappear, don't follow up with treatment. So the director of tuberculosis at the Bauchi State Agency for Control of HIV and AIDS, Malaria, Tuberculosis and Leprosy, Dr. Yakubu Gida, mentioned this. I hope that they have something to show on how we respond after this news.
It's such a sad thing because tuberculosis is completely wiped out in some other countries of the world, and they were still dealing with it, and we're number 1 when it comes to Africa.
No, we play with.
And we've had several interventions concerning this. Sadly, that's what we can take on Newspaper Review today. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll go into the hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So we saw a video that went viral about, from an interview that was conducted by QED. Patrick Doyle was being interviewed and he was talking about his a little bit about his marriage.
Former marriage.
Former.
Eh?
It's former
marriage.
His former marriage, sorry. He's remarried, divorced. And he was talking about how she's a good woman. She was a fantastic provider, but things didn't work out. They have a good social media relationship. We don't really want to dig into what happened in their marriage. It's really not our concern. But we want to talk about, fun enough, drawing from personal experience. Yesterday as well, I met a friend of mine, a medical doctor. And I was like, how's your wife? How are your children? And they were saying, oh, we've been separated for 3 years now. I'm like, what happened? We just couldn't make it work. I came back home and she wasn't in the house. And now we have joint custody. I've been with the kids have been with him for a month now, and they'll spend the second month of the holiday with their mom. And they're like, well, okay, everybody's fine. I'm like, is everybody really fine? So apparently you can have a relationship with two people that are good, seemingly, but together it is not working. And we're going to discuss it to see how to make the necessary compromise, what can be the issues that would make two good people fall in love, get married, and then decide at a point that it's not working, and see how we can draw lessons that can help people watching who are probably going through this or are two good people about to get married and probably would not work out as well. So you can join the conversation with your own opinion by calling us on 0810-764-1679 or 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. We'd love to hear from you or read your comments on YouTube. So here we are. When I go back home and I was gisting my husband, he was like, well, the thing is nowadays there's a lot of divorce is now, it's not a strange thing anymore. Maybe 10, 20 years ago, people can look at it and say, what happened? But it's not strange. If it's not working and we can't find a way to make it work, then there's no problem. But I just felt very uncomfortable because I know the parties involved, and it just felt really weird because I see them as good people. So, Nima, why would two good people, and I know you find yourself in situations where by career path, you are having to intervene on behalf of one or two or the others, but in your cases, I'm always hearing one bad person or the other bad person, but have you seen where two people that they are good still couldn't find a way to make it work in a relationship?
Okay, so there are several things that cause, distance, or what will I call it, in marriage. Several issues, and it could be two good people, but these issues are so insurmountable, they cannot solve them. One of them is the in-laws and some trauma. So this person is good, but the trauma is something the person can't immediately drop. Or maybe when you're with that person, he's not healing. You're a good person, he sees you, but if you continue to stay with the person, you just might overwhelm yourself. And after a while, things will just go from bad to worse. So you maybe step out of the situation, allow the person heal, and then maybe, if it's possible, come back. But if it's not, everybody moves on. So we've seen several like that. Those are some of the best for me, where both parties are willing to just, settle this matter. Can we do it so fast so that, she has a good life, where they are good people. But, the majority of what I see is what you explained. But this is possible, where there was one, the mom was so much involved in the marriage. She wanted decision A, decision B taken. She would not stop. She continued to control the situation of the marriage. She wouldn't stop. And the young girl just kept trying to talk to the guy. You need to do this for me. You need to talk to... And he says, I can't. She's my mom. Her place is special. And you have to learn to live with it. But it was killing the girl. And so she had to go. If you ask the mom, she must not be in my son's life. But the guy was just like, he's just in a place where no matter what he does in his life, his mom must be pleased. And so no matter who is affected. And
so can a person be a good person but have a... Okay, everybody has...
No, if you ask me, he was a good man to her, a good husband. When it comes to being her husband. But he didn't want to be a bad son, and that's different. Parents refused... She in her case, refused to grow into that new position of, this is my son's life. She was in his life. She will come in, take her child, accost her and say, you did not bring child from your house. Maybe she said, no, this is how we do it in our in-laws' house. This is what must be done. Even though it was affecting the girl, she was like, why can't she not be civil? Why can't she be, you need to tell your mom, Drew, put the boundaries in. He didn't know how.
He was too good to everybody, and he could not be bad
So, yeah, you know, these things, some tough decisions will be taken. Some people will be hurt. Sometimes it's not always better to hurt only the wife. Let her and tell her to deal with it. It's they are my family, they cannot do any wrong. When your family are the ones at fault, as a man, you must also be able to step in. And so when it wasn't working, she left for her parents' house. He came, they tried to resolve, but he just couldn't. Because anytime he comes in, this is one sacrifice she has to make. Even when she took over her accommodation, it's one sacrifice that she needed to make for him.
We'll still come back to that side in terms of necessary sacrifices. Maybe sometimes good people might break up because one person isn't willing to make the sacrifice. But have you had any scenario, read anything that where two good people, for one reason or the other, were unable to make it work?
Yeah, so good people, at some point, I think sometimes compatibility. At some point, they are not compatible and, you know, maybe differences in values, you know, people coming from different cultures too also affect those kind of things. So sometimes, I used to know someone that there are some women that both parties, sometimes they don't fight for their marriage as much as possible when issues start coming. Because there's no marriage that does not have issues. Once issues start coming, the ability and, you know, the way we handle them matters a lot. I know someone, there was a time we're having an argument with somebody and she said once her husband cheats, that's her own deal breaker and she's going to leave. And I was like,
when it comes to cheating, can you say a cheating man is a good man?
Yeah. Well, what if it was what if it's a mistake that you're unable to forgive? So, you know, a lot of people feel that maybe when you're in marriages, mistakes don't happen, people don't have bad habits, you know, and I always say that for me, I see it also like, you know, with our parents. We are their children, they love us, you know, we love them, but we have done a lot of things, you know, that some parents, if they could, they would have put us up for sale, not even adoption, you know. But as a parent, it's already in you to forgive. You forgive ahead because, you know, you're trying to build. But with a spouse, it's harder. You know, because you're expecting that this person should know better, this person is a full adult. So those are the sort of things that may come in between good people. You find someone who has done something wrong in a marriage, truly sorry, has always been good, but this was a mistake. And the other person truly loves him or her, but is unable to forgive that mistake, recognizes that she's a fantastic wife, she's an amazing mother, she's such a career-driven person, ambitious, she's everything I've always wanted, but I cannot forgive this mistake. That can happen. Why two good people would leave each other. Then I think one for me, which I feel is major, is that after a while, there's this complacency that can set in marriages, where you see finish. I know you, you know me, and you know I saw one meme somewhere recently, where someone was making jokes about some things that was happening in the house. You know, like the wife said this, the wife said that. Then someone under the comment says, and tomorrow when she's asked for divorce, you'll be asking, where did it come from? Meanwhile, you're joking about things that she's pointing out to you that is a problem. Or the man is pointing out some things to you that is a problem. And you're laughing, I don't mind this for my husband. Every time I drop my towel on the floor, you'll be complaining. I beg, you know? Meanwhile, it is eating him up, you know? And it's telling.
So I wrote down all that reoccurring mistakes. Simple reoccurring mistakes.
Just even commit.
Just get on your nerves.
Just even have that, you know, commitment to just spice up the relationship a little bit. So, because my husband is hardly ever around, you know, when he comes back, I really try to, you know, go out of my way to make sure that when he comes back, things are put in place, the house. My daughter asked me, she says, Mom, why always trying, I'm trying to look for the words, why always trying to, is it impress Dad or something? There was something that she said, like I always go out of my way from, I said, well, because it's out of town, so I want to go out of my way to make it. You know, at first, a part of me felt, you know, the feminist part was like, it's true, why am I going? And I thought it's a good thing to teach her. Yeah. I said, he deserves it, he does so much for us, and da-da-da-da. In my own little way, this is something I can. But many times we make the mistake where we take each other for granted. See, I've said it here before, my husband would, you know, do a lot of things, but when he asks me to get something for him, I'm always forgetting to do it. Please, can you quickly pick this up for me on your way back in the most convenient, I will forget to do it. You know, one day he called me, I was like, why is it that when I ask you, in fact, he even plans that I will forget it so that I can do it. And I told myself, I said, no, this is not right. Yeah. I mean, someone that would go out of their way for you, just this, you know, not something that will inconvenience you, but because you have seen the person finish, hey, you understand, whatever. So I think those are the reasons sometimes that two good people who are decent, who are kind, who respect each other, sometimes don't stay.
So I have seen my marriage where when I stand my ground, that thing always irks my husband somehow. When I decide to stand my ground on something, he'll be like, Nima is such a good person.
Until...
That's how he starts the conversation. Say, I know my wife, she's a good person. She's stubborn. Anytime I do that thing, and I'll be like, I'm a good person. Okay, this thing I want, do it now. This thing that I want now, do it. You know,
so that we can go back to the good
side. So that we can go back. If I'm a good person, don't stress me for that.
Give you issues.
Every time we have that argument and it involves someone, you say, my wife, she's such a good person. But this thing, she's stubborn. I'll be like, so why you? It's like you're testing me.
You know? I love the conversation we're having, but you want to say something? Let me hear from
because
you.
As I was talking, Miriam interjected at some point.
Sorry, I thought you were doing sorry.
Yeah, so the lady in question I was talking about that said she couldn't forgive her husband because he cheated. She tried, she tried her best to see if she could forgive, but the thing kept on, playing in her head and all that. So at the end of the day, one day she just got up and she left the marriage. She's a good person and the guy also a good guy, but he tried his best. He made sure that he stopped, he always makes sure that, okay, what he started doing was that anytime he's going out, he tells her, wherever he is, he takes pictures, everything, just to make everything right.
But evidence.
She couldn't just forgive him. So there are times like that when, it just comes from his spouse that she can't just forgive. So those kind of
they don't
things
believe
happen.
in therapy. Because really...
Because
a lot of marriages...
Therapy might help.
Yes.
But we've uncovered
you've also made up your mind.
Yes.
Yeah,
so for some people, it's in this case, it might just be like if she's a very visual person, and every time she sees her husband, she's visualizing the cheating scenario.
Yes.
Or it might be if it happens whichever way, because we've heard stories of women with full chest cheating, and the men forgave, and some could not forgive because every time you now see that person, instead of being reminded of the good in them, you are reminded of that weakness in them, and you're seeing it every time. So even though they are making efforts to say that I've moved on from this thing, the visual remains in the person's mind. But we haven't mentioned because I'm making a list of other things that can religious differences. Not necessarily two different religions. I've heard someone, they are both Christians, but they are in two different denominations of Christianity, and they couldn't make it work because each person is expecting something from the other person. One was expecting, you should join me. You know I was very faithful in this church before you married me. And we already discussed it. You said you would join. But when the other person was of the opinion that when I entered into the church, I realized that this is not church, this is cult. Or like something different. Like this is not the way I know Christianity. This is not the way I was brought up. The things they're asking you to do, I don't understand. Case in point, white garments, Pentecostalism. I don't understand. Why are you carrying candle? Why are we going to what's all this one about? They are unable to make it work. Or even now, Christianity and Muslim or traditionalist and all of that.
So for me, I'd put it under growing apart or growing away from each other. So you have some people, so we're not even talking different religions. We're talking the same religion, the same denomination. But maybe at the time that you met...
let me just take Abiola from the corridor. Abiola has called into the show. Welcome, good morning.
Yes, good morning, my dear sister.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. You see, there are two, on what you are discussing, there are two major problems that good couples normally face and that eventually leads to their separation. One is internal and the other is external. Let me first of all deal with the external. When mature couples marry, let the parents of each of these members of this marriage steer clear of that marriage. Their relationship should be advisory. It should be for intervention and not for interference. There's a difference between the two. And when you see some parents going in to tell their son that, look, this woman is not good for my son, and the husband is weak to tell the mother, Mama, you have had your own marriage. Let me enjoy my own marriage. Then there will be that problem. Because that good woman will feel that she's being treated like a slave.
Yeah.
And she will eventually depart. So also, not only the parents it also happens even from the parents of the wife too. They will say your husband does not do this, does not do that, and you are thereby informing your daughter that the husband is not good for her. And they normally lead to separation, though they are good. Even as I'm talking, I'm a victim of such a thing in my family. I told my mother point blank, Mama, you have had your own marriage. You divorced my father when I was 2 years old. And you now want to interfere in my own. Fear clear. Until she died, we were never in good books. And today, me and my wife are still together. That is one part, the external reason why good couples normally again separate. The second one is internal. And this internal is what I want to just advise you people on the social media. The way we always advise women that the moment you have a kind of deal breaker or whatever, and somebody does this, you have crossed the line, then you should depart. Most women do not have the stomach to think at the other side of the effect. They will feel that, maybe these are my colleagues, these are my sex colleagues, and they have said they have experienced this. Then if my husband should do anything like this, I think I'm out. You don't do, marriage is not a magic. It's not a linear graph that you can say it's a straight line.
Thank you so much, Abiola. You were saying something.
Yes, I was saying that cases where people can grow apart also spiritually. So this is not even different religion, is that maybe someone becomes even more
committed.
Spiritually, has grown, more spiritually, and another person had, either slacked a bit. Or when we met, we're both in church and very prayerful. The church was where we stayed, or, everything concerning our religion, we did it perfectly. Then as life happened, someone, decided that, I don't think I need to be that involved, or I don't think I need to be that serious about it. That shows that, there's a change in almost values. You've sort of grown apart. I've seen people also where, at the time that they met, mentally, Intellectually, they were the same. They were okay. And then someone has taken their time, either because of work or whatever, put the time in to build themselves, to grow themselves. The other person, maybe not through any fault of theirs, decided, okay, while you do this, I'm behind, just making sure I'm keeping the house safe, everything is going well. And then you find yourself 10, 20 years later, and you're two different people. So those are the sort of things. So I don't have anything against him. He's perfect. I don't have anything against her, but we just don't even think alike anymore. We don't even see life the same anymore. So those sort of things that happen. But I think the major one, which is for me, I see recurring all the time, is money. When
growing apart financially,
if we don't have, when money becomes an issue, good people can, if that thing takes over, good people can divorce.
And a good person not be able to handle money issues.
Yes, a good person may not be financially savvy, may not be financially literate. Okay. A good person may not be able to understand how, when we had so much, this and this was what we did, this was our lifestyle, all of a sudden, I can't afford to do this. And this is important to me. Oh, this was how I was raised. This is how my family was raised. All of a sudden, you're saying we can't afford to do this anymore. Many people struggle with that. So it's not like she's a bad person or he's a bad person. I can't do this anymore.
Or the person is so good, they give away all the money.
Several
you marry somebody that is so good. He's such a generous person.
I gave it all.
That every time there is money in the house, they will dash everybody finish. So it is the generosity and the goodness that is now causing issue within the marriage.
So I have several examples. As Miriam was talking,
that was dropping into stories.
Especially of this morning one. So this couple had married, they had an open book relationship about money. I have 10 kobo, you have 20 kobo, we put it together, we have 50 kobo, we do this, everything. That was their initial stand. And then advice third parties started coming. And one day they had a fight. And the spouse said to the other one, my father had told me, if you keep your money open to a woman, you're a stupid person. And the woman was like, so my own that is open. Me, I don't have father, you understand? And this person would not take it back. The other person would, and it became a rule of, you know, my money, I kept saying, okay, see, this is not really complicated. To the woman that, you know, you can just, you to just start the method. They have set a new graph. I even gave examples of when me tried to do it. She just kept looking at me strangely. She just felt violated. She felt that's not the rule. Is he saying, am I here to steal his money? Is that what we've been doing? Does he not have any trust? Just one couple fight and everything wanted to scatter, you know? And I think he, on his part, no matter what you say to him, he kept emphasizing, repeating what one person who has lived his life and even passed.
That's also under, like the caller said, external influence. Let me take Oladipo, I'll come to you. Oladipo has called in from Ikorodu. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yeah. So, from my own perspective, when you are discussing this issue this morning, I discover many things. The reason why we have many broken homes and all the single mothers outside nowadays, or single father. Number one, I discovered, you may not take it, but from my own personal research, a friend of mine, and even my brother, he said he would never marry a working class woman. If you look at it very well, you discover that those divorcee that we have, those ones that, okay, they are no more in their husband's house again. You discover that most of them, they are working class people. Because you can't see somebody that maybe is under, don't let me use the adjective of under the husband. Somebody that is still a kind of, maybe is the husband that is giving the food, making as in everything, is the one preparing everything for him. It's always a little bit difficult for that thing to happen. But when it comes to maybe you two, I'm getting salary at the end of the month, even sometimes you discover that even the wife is even receiving more than the husband. Before you know, the person will grow the wings and there will be shoulder pads. You will go and get shoulder pads from fashion designer. And before you know, things will somehow turn. And so I observed that. That's my own major point.
No, Oladipo, you have dropped a bomb. And it's a bomb that everybody here would feel like addressing, because what you've just said is the reason many die in marriages because they don't have financial empowerment. But you're taking it from the angle of the financial empowerment gives the woman liberty to live without addressing the other issue, the crucial issues that made her want to live. Because what he's saying is statistically, he's saying that statistically, women who are working are more willing to leave. But the issue, you're not addressing why did they even want to leave?
What kind of person
because
were they married to?
The fact that they are financially stable does not mean they want to leave if there is no issue that was not addressed. And we need to go on a break. Okay. Meanwhile, when we come back, it is Ramatu that is going to take it up. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing, can good men and good women in a marriage break up, even as good people? And our last caller dropped a bomb that everybody is itching to. I even want to dig in a bit more, but Ramatu has been waiting for a while, so we're going to hear from Ramatu.
Okay, so I want to answer the caller. First of all, when a woman works, she's supposed to be a helper to her husband. Sometimes for unforeseen circumstances, sometimes you don't know what can happen to the husband. He can lose his job, death, anything can happen, and the woman can pick up from there. So I don't believe where you said that when a woman starts working, she starts to, he can't marry a woman that works. If he does not marry a woman that works, it's a big problem to him later in life, because you can't tell what the future holds. That's my own, yes. So my understand is this, lack of communication is a major factor. Like what Nima said, if there was communication on finances at the beginning part of the marriage, you talked about your finances, you talk about how you handle each other's moods. Okay, when I'm angry, what do we do? Or how do we resolve issues, especially conflicts? Because conflicts, they are inevitable in marriage, no matter what you do. And at some point, sometimes in marriage, you just want to take that break I don't know if it happens to you. You just want to be like, let me just 1 month or 2 months, let me just be away.
Is a lot.
It's a lot, but let me just be away because there are some kinds of, at some point in marriage,
Is it
maybe
like
5
physically
years, 6
away, or what
years.
do you mean?
Yeah, not physically. They just, maybe you people are in the house, but you give each other that distance and everything, you know. People will come back, talk about things, conflicts, resolving conflicts is always a problem in marriage. So communication, when you communicate, when you tell each other how to handle stuff, when there's an issue that comes up, sit down, talk about it. One is listening. Recently, I learned how to listen. Before, if my husband is talking, I am talking. So at the end of the day, we started building, you know, resentments, and we got our issues were never resolved.
Yeah.
So at some point, I had to learn how to listen. So when he's talking, I listen. I just listen to him, and I don't respond. And I give myself time. I tell myself that I can give myself 2 days, 3 days. I don't have to respond immediately. I can tell him, oh, okay, I've heard you. I'll respond. But maybe not now. Because maybe at that particular point in time, if I respond, I may not like what I have said or something. So I'll wait. Sometimes I'll wait 2 days.
Intelligence.
Yes, so I'll wait 2 days, 3 days. And sometimes after waiting, I'll just
there's
feel
no
like there's no need. What he has said is, you know, makes sense.
As in, this
So
what you just said
walk.
is so powerful. While I want Nima to respond to Oladipupo, not necessarily respond, just giving a bit more perspective to what Oladipupo said, I feel like what you've just discussed can be the solution to many good people right now watching this show and at the brink of breaking up. Because when we don't communicate properly, many people view communication as listen to me, not the, like,
you understand me?
you understand
what
me.
I'm saying.
You need to take time to understanding your person, understanding the situation, not being in a hurry to respond. We learned that from RDJ. RDJ was like, sometimes on this show, you're not actually listening. No? You are just preparing your response. You are, as the person is talking, you are meditating, you are conjoining your own response to the person without actually taking time to analyze what did the person say, how did the person feel. It might not be your intention. So that communication is something that needs to be worked on extensively, not even in the beginning. It's a constant journey throughout a successful marriage. Any successful marriage is a marriage that constantly communicates and listen and edify one another. I also like when she said that you wait, and then you might realize there was really no issue to discuss. But you were going to talk about...
Okay, so the caller had said that empowered women, that's what I hear, that working women were the most quick to divorce. And I think he's missing the fact that an empowered woman willing to stay in marriage is the most beautiful thing. So you have the means to fly out of the marriage, but you're so in love. You come in empowered, you're so in love with the person that no matter what you have, it doesn't matter. You want to stay with the person. That's where most of our people here miss it, men miss it. Because you want to bring a weaker person who has no means of going, but you believe she's in love because she's staying. Maybe she's putting up. Then when the tables turn in your old age, you start to see the woman. Because when tables turn, a weak woman who must have suffered and put up with all your excesses,
She will give you back.
she will definitely serve you back. And that time, the people who were your caregivers, or not, who were your caregivers, will now no longer be there.
Yeah.
They would have left the room in your stadium where they were telling you, you're the man, you're the man. They would have emptied the place and you'll be left alone with that woman. I always say it, when an empowered woman is willing to make her marriage work, staying despite the means to work out every time. That's the most beautiful thing
for a man.
So your search should be an empowered woman who wants to marry you for who you are and stay with you.
Not the one that has no choice.
Not the one that has no choice. The one that her father house she cannot go, her mother house she cannot go, her uncle house she cannot go. She has no place to go, but stay with you and put up with whatever. And you're not really sure whether she's in love, whether you're a good man with her, whether you're earning her love, whether the marriage is still sustainable, whether she's just saying, oh, I don't go, manager. You don't know whether that's what she's putting up with.
Thank you so much for that perspective. Please. Let's take Olorunfemi. We seem to be having a lot of callers from Ikorodu. Welcome to the show, Olorunfemi.
That's all good for that side.
Welcome, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I just want to quickly say something about what the last caller said. If that is what is in the mind of men, they should better remain single. What the eyes of women that are not working are saying in marriage is something else. It is hell. So it's better for a woman to work. A working class woman that knows, our rights in the house will never take shit that those people that are not working are taking. I'm telling you, it's a bitter truth.
Yeah, thank you so much, Olorun
You
Femi.
know, they said, he said people that are working, they are those that are, most of them are singles. They are not in their marriage. Do you know what it takes to be under a toxic marriage when you don't even have work?
It complicates things a bit more. This is, like I said, that Oladapo dropped a bomb. But the thing is, the bomb he dropped is a reflection and it's a conversation that has been had in many beer parlor conversation within men. It's like a norm that the more empowered your woman is, the
more likely she would be.
So it brings the question, does financial empowerment embolden a woman in marriage?
Anybody, even the man, he emboldens him. But you know what? For me, I've been thinking a lot about, because this conversation is not new, but I'm thinking maybe women need to read. Maybe we need to sit and hear what these men are saying. And maybe we need to understand what this marriage really, how it was designed for. And then we realize which one we're picking. Because, when you go through the time, even in, ancient times or whatever, time past, the marriage was to be done by the Lord husband, who has the money, has the strength, has everything, and then he marries you almost as a favor, either to you directly or to your family or your community or your country, So that is what I feel in our DNA has been passed to us. The man is supposed to marry to take care of the woman. In situations where we would hear stories of olden times where the woman was strong and she had her own wealth, there was also a way she had to act so that it was not in his face or made him feel less than himself. So that's what I feel a lot of men have. But now we're living in modern times. A lot of things have changed. And women are also becoming so empowered and doing a lot of things for themselves. And I think that men are finding it difficult to come from where they have always known and where they are coming from to the realities today. And for a woman, and then for us too, when we talk about marriages, maybe we should understand that, in the original sense of it, is the man taking care of you. So if you're the one taking care of a man, or if you're bigger than the man or more empowered than the man, maybe that's why women like that always look for a man that can do more than you can. Do you understand? Because you find very successful women and they say, I just want to be taken care of. But madam, you are taking care of yourself and so many people, but a woman will still want a man that can take care of her. Yeah. So maybe we're also being hypocritical in the sense that even us, we want a man that can be the leader in some way with either money or something or career, So it's important that we hear what they're saying and then let us also understand that there's
understand the historical precedent.
Yes, so it gives us context.
Brought about this belief.
But then also remember we're in 2024 and there's some differences and,
Yeah. Understanding historical precedents and understanding the reality of modern times. We'll take Prince Bello calling from Abuja. Prince Bello, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Happy to be on the platform today. I'm not a first-time caller.
But you are still welcome to the show.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. On my contribution is all the contributors on this particular topic, everybody are making sense, but at the same time, it's caution, because the purpose of bringing the topic is for us to learn, for Nigerian, for viewers to learn. Most especially, one important support I want to make to the contributors, that woman, Nea Nima. In short, if for those who listen to her very well, I believe she has made a very good point, in the sense that she made her personal reference, and her personal reference is a very good language experience for a lot of women to learn, because she may say that sometimes when her husband is talking, she also is talking. When he's doing with that, so alone is very good in women in marriage. But that solution she prefer is very good for women to pick from that solution she provides. That at a later stage she understands that when my husband is talking, I should not reply immediately. And that thing also affects men. It irritates men and will make men sometimes to go beyond boundaries sometimes. So let those who listen to her to really pick from that experience. I won't say more than that. God bless everybody.
Bello, don't you think it is also vice versa? Like, is it not also okay for the man to also listen to the woman and also wait sometimes and think so that his response, he might just realize he doesn't need to respond, that what she said is valid?
Because that kind of husband is a fantastic husband.
Okay, I agree with that. Let me say this. Yes, as a marriage, because yes, it's vice versa. Sometimes men should also learn not to be always say, I am the owner of the house, I am the overall. No, I agree with that, because if both parties, sometimes what that woman said she took, there are some women that may find it difficult to do it. So even the husband also can look at, okay, if this my wife could refuse to understand me, let me also take another dimension. It is very correct, because we need to learn the part. Anything that can make the marriage to last is what's important. Don't forget about whatever is happening in your nuclear house is limited to you and your wife. Forget about somebody will tell you outside that if your wife say no, you must say yes. Your wife must obey you. If you believe that this is your wife, this is the type of wife you marry. But if you calm down a little, does not mean say you calm down to her or you listen to your wife, does not mean you that you don't take action or you don't have action. But what?
Thank you so much, Prince Bello, for
I thought it was
balancing that it should be balanced.
Balance.
Thank you so much. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll dig further into the conversation, especially because we realize that this financial empowerment thing can be a major stumbling block in two good people building a successful home together. We'll dig into it further. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. So we've been getting a lot of comments on YouTube, a lot of comments on Twitter, I'm sure as well, but YouTube is agog with comments concerning this financial matter. And like I asked before we had that caller, that is it possible for a financially empowered woman to have a successful marriage? And Mariam gave us a beautiful context, which I think is extremely important, that we need to understand our history. That what men are expecting is what they've been brought up to expect. But sadly, women are now brought up to be financially empowered. And financial empowerment gives you freedom. When you have money, it gives you liberty to do what you want to do. So it is a case of, do I want this marriage? Or do I want, if I don't want it, I now have the liberty to, I have that financial empowerment to take that step out or remain in. And it gives, I think it should make men even more happy when they have a financially empowered woman that is married to them, because it means that I'm doing everything right. That's why she's still here.
No, but I wanted to respond to Mariam earlier when she made that comment that, you know, the active word here is the power to live, not the staying power. You know, every woman wants to get married. When we were raised, we have the beautiful dreams, whether he's wealthy, whether he's, you know, when you get into marriage, you're looking for a kind person. You're looking for someone you can live with, someone who doesn't make you find somewhere to hide in your home. You know, if those things are missing, you'll now be looking for the means to live. So we talk about women who, their spouses and them travel the japa and they get abroad and find out, oh, the laws benefit women here. I get this much power, okay. You just see a monster develop. And so when we talk about why women live because they live with means or they get the means to live and they live, we are failing to address the lack of a good character in marriage that make women stay. You see some women, they're not asking for too much. Basics. Maybe a roof over their head, a small place to call their own. You know, if they don't, some don't even mind sharing the place as long as they're in love and the person is making them feel in love. I have a friend, her husband and herself, you can never hear their voice. They don't have so much, they're just okay. You understand? When he wakes up in the morning, you won't know that he's broke. You just say, well, in fact, his phone was stolen and my friend went to take a loan from her own office to buy her husband a phone. They don't shout. When it comes in money, it's helping her with the kids. They do everything together. You see why she doesn't...
That's peace of mind.
She has peace of mind.
If tomorrow you heard, not them, if tomorrow you heard that they got divorced, how will you feel?
I won't be surprised. Things can happen.
Let me talk
Maybe
about,
she changes her mind.
Another angle.
Well, it won't be because of me that she left.
Where someone can be a good father or a good mother, but not such a good partner.
Yeah, easy.
Like you've seen there is a good provider, is a good father, is a good mother, but to you as a person, it's just not, it's not working. It's not meeting that emotional need or whatever need. What was the conversation somebody was having with me? This person is in the abroad. They are going through, they've been separated right now. And he was telling me, he said, what is emotional unavailability? That how can what she's saying by I'm emotionally unavailable? I'm emotionally unavailable. If the car she's driving, the house she's living, I just changed the car for her this year. She said I'm emotionally unavailable. I said the fact that you're asking that question, it shows that you have not been emotionally available. So this conversation that I came to ask my husband, do you know what emotional availability is? He said me too, I've heard it before. I don't understand what these women are saying.
And then who did you ask?
So obviously there is a word called emotional availability. It's ties with the love language of quality time. And it is something a lot of women appreciate, but a lot of men do not understand. Please, can you ladies help me to explain emotional availability to our wonderful men who are watching right now and try to save their marriage?
First of all, for men, just reduce the ego. The ego and the pride is really much. If you can just bring it down a little bit, it will really help a lot of women. A woman needs affection. She wants affection. She wants you to show it. Show it. Oh, she wears something beautiful. Compliment her. Compliment her at every instance. And when you are trying to correct your woman, correct her in love. Not for you to come, what kind of food is this? Why did you do this? Why did you do? There are ways that you can, talk to your wife. Talk to her in a lovely way that she will understand you and she will relate and she will do everything for you. For example, she goes to work, you send her a message, hope you got there, check up on her, follow up on her. I'm telling you, once you do all of these things for a woman, she will give you her best. She'll give you her very best. And men are going through a whole lot when it comes to providing, to be sincere. Because if you see the burden, especially the African man, he's the one that will provide everything. And, when a woman works, for example, I can't meet my husband for everything that my parents ask me for. There are some times that I want to do some things for my parents. If I'm not working, how do I provide those things? And there are some things, whether we like it or not, there's this little family secret between me and my family and my husband and his own family. I can't every time go and burden my husband. Give me money, let me give my mother for this. My cousin is ill, I want to get money for this. So if a woman is working, she'll be able to control those parts.
As well.
Yes, exactly. So I think those are...
Mariam wants to take a...
Yeah, so you started with if there were relationships where...
Oh, let me take this caller. I'm so sorry. Mukhtar, welcome to the show. Calling all the... Oh, I'm really sorry, Mukhtar. I totally forgot about you temporarily.
Oh.
Next time you call back.
Yeah. Yes, okay. So earlier you had said people who are fantastic fathers, but not... But if you have friends or you've spoken to people who are divorced but are co-parenting well, you would hear that they would describe the person as a fantastic father or fantastic mother, but somehow they just can't get it. They just can't get it right between them, and there's nothing that they have tried. So it happens, definitely. And I think also that's where maybe the emotional availability comes, because let's say the father, you provide the necessary things that many women maybe expect. You're paying rent, you're paying for school fees, there's food, clothing. If you have means, maybe travel once in a while, you're able to do all that, but you're just not connecting with your partner, man or woman. And it's the emotional availability. And I don't think there's like a one
definition for it.
Yes, I don't think that there's one solution for this emotional availability. It's not as if okay, you need to be kind, you need to be whatever. Yes, all those things are important, but you find a person who is kind, who is respectful still, will be with a partner who does not feel that you're connecting with them emotionally. So it means that it needs to be suited, customized to your relationship that you have, your wife or your husband. What are the things that they are dealing with? What are their insecurities that they are dealing with, and how do you respond to those situations? When I come to you and I'm ranting about something, sometimes men go quickly into fix-it mode. Let me do it for you. What is it that you want? Oh, you want more money. Sometimes I just want you to sit down and just hear me rant. And rant a lot. You may not rant with me, but, you know, just pack me and
like, oh,
sometimes even when I'm wrong, at least be on my side, you know, something like that. So you have different people with their different baggages, different trauma. Are you available? Are you able to fill in for that person, you know, at that time? So sometimes that is what it means, to just connect to that person emotionally. Sometimes we have some women who have like serious PMS symptoms, you know, and then you don't see it. You've been married to this woman for 10 years. You're still complaining about this thing. Meanwhile, I will never forget, there was this boy when we were in university. His girlfriend, he and his girlfriend were my friends. And every time she's about to be on her period, he'll be boiling water, he'll be putting in water. I'm like, who taught you these things? He just knew all the things that he needed to do. Nice. Yes, he just knew all the. I'm telling you. So during that period, when she does not stay with us, she goes straight there where they will take care of her, you know. He didn't have, in fact, that particular relationship, it was obvious she had like more of the money and everything, but he was able to connect with her emotionally as well. So sometimes we see the provider part, we see the strong, confident part, but sometimes we need...
Can we also be women, African women? Because this example you gave just reminded me. We know where our support is. It does not have to be with the spouse. You know, we are blessed. I have sisters, I have, you know. So I know the things I give to Zibiri. Cannot handle some things.
True. No, but emotional availability is what we're trying to understand.
I have some post-traumatic situation I'm dealing with, and we were in it together. He was there, and you would think he would know. But I swear to God, you know nothing. Like, do you want to share? I'll be like, can you handle? And I always know. I don't give him that burden. Don't even test him. He will fail. Forget it. Once you start giving him, there was a time in my marriage where we tried to share some of those kind of things. And it was like, it was traumatic for him to hear that I had to go through all of that. Ever since then, no matter how Kenny is pretending to be, I don't bother.
Do you know what you're saying and brings up this fantastic conversation, which is modern marriages expect the marriages to be everything.
Everything.
Yes. You know, even families, they cannot be everything to you, and you cannot be everything to them. You know, we're also talking about important communities, like the relationship with our sisters. It is very important. There are some things that men, no matter how much they love and care for us.
That's your best. I have several best friends. Yes. Each friend for their purpose. Each friend, they have their, I don't waste my time. If I tell you you're my best friend, trust me, you are, because there's something you're doing for me that you underestimate. Yes. I feel in everybody when I know they can. There's a time when I want to rant. My husband was shocked to find out that as close as I am to Auntie Bimbo, there were things I never said to her. And I lived with her. There are things I say, don't ever bring this kind of thing to her. She will help you scatter them. Because she can handle them. Understand people. There are things I would say, if I tell Miriam this thing, my own don't finish.
Yes. Like today.
You know? So I couldn't tell you. So I will not bother. But there are certain things that, no, Miriam is the one that I need right now. That's how marriages work. You compensate accordingly. You don't expect,
I like that. You know, you're saying, you're expecting that we should be emotionally, you should have a level of emotional intelligence that will help you handle everybody you meet. And don't judge a fish by how well it can climb a tree, because it is a fish.
Yeah, it will swim.
It's swimming that is his area of strength. So let's learn.
And also understand his background, her background.
And for me, I think you should add
I have a call. Let me take this call immediately.
Hello.
Bright, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies.
Very well, thank you.
My name is Bright Philip, calling from Songo. I'm a first-time caller.
Yay!
Bright.
Okay. Concerning the issue on ground, actually, based on my own view, I can say one of the reasons why one of the causes of divorce in marriage is actually, let me say, this movement, recent movement has been taken over by ladies, this gender equality. The way some ladies actually handle that movement is actually one of the causes of divorce. When we look at history, normally a man is supposed to be the head of the family and the woman is supposed to be submissive. But most women see being submissive as weakness, not knowing that it is actually strength. Once you are submissive to your husband, it actually makes your husband love you more. We can look at the story of Esther in the Bible. When the king called his initial wife, Vashti, to come out for a banquet, he wasn't submissive, she refused to come out. But when he married Esther, she was actually submissive, and the king had to do everything she asked for. So when you are submissive to your husband, it actually makes the marriage last. It adds an additional spice in the marriage, and the man loves you more. But when you try to claim equality with your husband, actually causes, concerning what the other man said about working class ladies, most ladies, when they start working and they start earning money, they find it difficult to submit to their husbands, and I think that's one of the causes of divorce in marriage.
Okay. Thank you, Bright. We understood you, and then you now went back to where we had left. So Bright was talking about gender equality and the way some women carry the matter on their head, like, oh, we are now equal in this marriage, we're equal partners, we're together, and it is preventing submission. He's a proponent of submission. He also mentioned that when women now have money, they find it difficult to submit, which is what leads to divorce. But when you ask the women, for every woman that the man thinks divorced based on her financial empowerment, why they divorced, you will hear a totally different story.
Exactly.
You will hear things like emotionally unavailability. You will listen to things like lack of communication. You will listen to things like disrespect. A lot of men don't realize that women feel disrespected as well. Like it comes across like it is a man that feels disrespected, but it can also be a case where a woman can feel disrespected.
Papa, I hear you. What you said is true. But it's not blanket. It's not for everyone. There are some women, because they have more money, they feel that they're better off without you anyway, and they move on. So let's not make it seem that there are no relationships. Yeah, I'm just saying to that there are no relationships where the man is a good man and the woman just realizes, I have more money and, I'd rather be with someone I think is better. That also happens. But, when we're talking about the emotional availability, I think I emphasized a lot on the woman, and I wanted to say about the man as well. And what I see with men is that they have figured out quickly where to get their emotional whatever from. Either we call them, those ones we call them mommy's boys, that know that they will get no judgment or criticism when they go straight to Bobby. Or we have those who hang out with their buddies because they can be as open to them about some things. Some men will say that they are unable to be honest with their wives about their financial situation. Yeah. Because it will cause problems. Not that she will hate him, but not even judge, but that she may not be able to handle it. Just like, Nima was saying, there are some things her husband will never be able to understand, no matter how much he loves her. There are some things men also feel that we are unable to give them. And for them, I see that they complain less about that and figure themselves out. But I think we have, especially the modern woman has found a way to, want to have the man be the everything for that marriage or for her. And that's why it's important that you develop all types of relationships, the husband-wife relationship, your group of sisters relationship, your colleagues, those sort of things. And everybody feeds you different things at different times. And I feel that when you're able to get that, then you're even a better, wholesome person in the marriage for each other.
I feel that we should go back to growing apart. I think it's a very, very strong topic, a point that Mayam raised earlier, and that we should dig into it a bit more, because you can have two good people marry themselves in love at the same level, and as life happens to them 10 years, 20 years down the line, they have totally become two different people who now feel like they don't have anything in common again. And you spoke about spirituality, you mentioned financially, you mentioned intellectually. But guess what? Fitness is also something, some people grow more fit. And then there was a conversation I listened to. The person was like, you and I were eating potatoes and chips together. Suddenly, you're saying no more salt, no more meat, and you want me to suddenly join you in no more salt, no more meat. All of us were eating meat together just yesterday, eating cake together, eating pizza. Because you now become a fit person does not mean I would become a fit person like that. And sometimes we are expecting that I have become. You should become. If you cannot become, then we don't have things in common. In the growing journey, how do we ensure that we are taking cognizance of our partners as we are growing? So you are going for Harvard, you are paying for her to go to boys' school, or as she's going to Oxford, you are going to Cambridge. Both of you are encouraging one another.
So that thing, I read it, I hear it, I fear they catch me, because something must give. Who is going to hold the home? We play down this thing so much, Two of you can't be so overly ambitious without something giving. I don't know how you do the balance, except you have a very good support system.
You can do balance.
Trusted family members. You can't hire all the hands to raise your kids. The fact is that when you focus on, such an ambitious move, something will give with the kids.
Let me take
you then have
Francis
to hire
hands. Now. I hear you, and I see that it can be valid in some situation, but we can give a few tools that can help some people manage the situation. Francis, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have listened to this conversation, and it's very, very, very important to me as a person. I see this divorce, these issues, is tied to one problem called it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That problem of it doesn't matter is really what is tearing homes.
Exactly.
What am I saying? One of you said something like, you can drop a towel and the man or the woman will playfully say, I don't like this. And you just fear, is it not just this towel I dropped here? What is it about? Exactly. The second time it happened, he speaks or she speaks. Whatever I say now is for both parties so that I will not be saying double.
No problem.
Once it's down and one person is saying, no, it's not supposed to be so. That little thing that we consider it doesn't matter. As a man, let me even say this. Our attitude as men, some of us, or majority of us, for me as a person, if I'm coming back, I start removing my shirt from outside. Once I'm down from the car, and that shirt may not go with me into the room. It might just end up in the parlor. And the woman is complaining. There's a complaint. She will pick it up, but she's complaining. Over time, it becomes she will not be able to tell another person that this is my problem. But that is just the problem. It's on both sides. You see, I use the word, it doesn't matter. That thing you feel doesn't matter. It's actually what is tearing things apart. I will go with my beloved Nima. Sometimes when she wants to say the thing that is very thick, you will hear her switch to pidgin English. Let me switch a little and say this. The thing where now those things where we think it don't matter. Now those small things they worry us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wrote it under taking each other for granted or even see finish. But Nima gave us a tool earlier, and we've said it a bit, understanding each person. So I explain it because my husband taught me. There are things that I used to complain about, and he would tell me, I don't complain about everything that you do wrong. I look at something and just be like, I can live with it. I'll manage it. And even though I don't like it, I'll just continue picking it up after you. So there's a new trend in my house where we have a new rug somewhere. And so because I don't want shoes on the rug, he would have to remove his shoe before climbing. But when we drop that shoe there, it can be dirty the next 2 days if nobody touch it. So I don't even think, if he watches this show, this is the first time he's hearing about it. We don't even discuss it. Once we are going up, he will stand up and go up without the shoe. Me, I will now help him carry the shoe and follow him with the shoe. We don't need to discuss it. There are bigger issues that are on ground that I would need him to change. But if it is this sort of carry shoe, don't worry. Let me just carry the shoe. Let's not turn this one into Sermon on the Mount. There's no need to turn it into TEDx conversation. I'll just pick it. So I think that even in relationships, there are things that you feel, if it's something you can overlook it. You might decide to let him know, I'm overlooking this because this is more important to me, but let's discuss it. In terms of growing, I do believe that there are seasons of sacrifice, but we can grow together. Yes, we can actually grow together. I might be doing business. When I was doing my business program with LBS, I was in constant conversation with, it was all my case study. He read it because I sent it to him. I was sleeping on the island and he was doing school run, so he couldn't have been there with me at the same time. Similarly, when he found a book that is interesting, he will share it with me.
That means you have answered me now.
We can...
No, you just answered me, Tope.
Yeah.
How we can go about
both of you can do it.
Both of you cannot be at LBS.
Yes, we can both be.
But you know, when we
must make the effort
to
educate the person about what you're doing. So
what
will happen is
the
other person will not know what is going on.
There's something BRF used to say that, it's not all knowledge that you must get from the 4 walls of the school. Some people are PhD products just by what they read on their own. But because they don't have a PhD in front of their name, you underestimate their knowledge.
Yeah.
So he got an LBS degree from reading your materials and yet kept the home. You know when we
and
throw
hopefully
these things,
he's satisfied with just that.
Yes. Yes, and he's satisfied. He's not, and it's okay that, Tope had done this, Tope is doing this, and the home is working. When we say it, because I was at a conference several months back, and somebody was talking, I'm a doctor, and my wife, I was like, who can carry the children? Here they pretend. Because I'm an Yolu person. I'm always saying Yolu. If my husband and myself decide to fly out of the country today, I will have to fall back. Imagine that there's no Yolu. That's the truth. And so homes must understand that growth, you must be willing to forgive that I have grown, but my spouse couldn't grow because they made the sacrifice.
Yes, we
want
something
to go.
There will come a time where he will need it, and she'll be there.
Yes,
teamwork.
Yes, we are on the same team. There was a particular, what's her name, Mrs. Doyle? I can't remember her first name. She served in the last administration, and she was speaking about how when she wanted to go and she resigned from her work. She was high-flying, resigned, took a pay cut that was like, she was earning 10% of her income, and she was contributing financially to the family. So it was going to affect the family. And she asked her husband that, you are doing onshore, offshore. I want to go and I have this goal. I'm going to go and do my PhD. And I don't want to do this PhD that you're not fully committed. So she had to travel. Guess what? The family with the children relocated for 3 years. She was talking about that. The husband had to make that sacrifice. That whenever his 2 weeks in Nigeria, his 2 weeks off work was now spent in that country. It was a sacrifice. It was a pay cut. It meant that he didn't have that flexibility of free money. Every income he earned now went 100% into the family. For 3 years, sacrifice so that this woman can achieve her goal. But she was able to achieve that goal. Serving in the vice president's office, cabinet office, and was talking about, this is what my husband did for me. This is why I'm able to become a doctor from this university. And it's because of the sacrifice on this part. So I hear that sacrifice part time that would have to do. But the growing together, if you don't intentionally watch one another, you will grow.
Put it properly, the mind needs to grow. It's not, ambitious growth.
No ambitious.
So your mind opens up from what you read, how you develop yourself. And we see that affecting marriages, where the woman is not growing or the man has outgrown, because the mind, things will come in life. Every time you're aging, I'm going to be 15 years in marriage by next week, Thursday. And a lot of things that we were in the beginning that I can't stand. No. Yes,
you have upgraded.
And a lot of things that I was in the beginning that my husband couldn't stand. I love chewing gum. You all know it. I'm addicted to it. I had to drop it in Ramadan. And even though I secretly still binge, but not when my husband is around. I quickly dump it because, you know. So a lot of things that you do, mindset has to change. Mindset has to be more liberal. Sometimes you will say something, I'll be like, I'll be like, but we used to say these things together. And I'll be like, no, this has to stop, you know. So mindset, but not ambitious.
So I want to come to you, Ramatu. You know, we've discussed, I made a long list that we probably would run through so that everybody gets, because if people, we said some things in passing, but I know we didn't talk about cross-cultural marriages and the impact of cross-cultural marriages, and even if you're cross-cultural background. So maybe you're brought up in a house. I was telling my husband that, see what you're doing, your children will grow up thinking this is the template for a man. Yeah. That because this is, you do this, you are the only man they know. And they've seen you all their life behaving like this. So in their mind, when they meet their wife, they would expect that, my dad was like, my mommy did not complain because they did not hear our complaint. The complaint is inside the room. So they don't know what's going on. So that's how a man will come to the house and say that, I want fresh food every day. And he does not understand why you feel that is a problem. Because when he grew up, the 35 years he spent in his mother's house, his mom was cooking fresh food every day. There was no complaint. So what exactly? And the woman was working, and she raised all of them very well. So why are you complaining? So let's talk about how to manage cultural differences and how you would prescribe, what you would advise we can do to help with those kind of situations. Okay,
so cultural differences sometimes can be a problem, but it's something that you can manage with effective communication. Okay, so you marry somebody from a different cultural background, I marry somebody from a different cultural background, right? I can educate you on how, you know, what our customs are, what we do in certain times and all of that. Okay, so for example, there was this time I went home, we went to a villa, and then I was asking my husband, my mother-in-law, I was asking her that, there's this guy that got married to one lady, and they got the wife for him. And I was like, what was the criteria in getting the wife? She now said that the girl is hardworking. So for them, you have to be hardworking. What they understand by hardworking is you have to be working in a farm, and you should be able to, you know, do very well in a farm and all of that. So those were the criteria they used in getting married to her, you know. So, but those are the cultural differences for some people, and that's what some people use to, you know, understand themselves. And another thing again, patience. Patience is very, very important in marriage. You have to be patient to understand your partner. Patience is, there's no amount of patience that is enough. Some people say it's a lot. You can't measure it. You can't say, okay, I've been patient from now till this time, and maybe from now till this time I'm tired and all of that. You can't be tired. And that's why a lot of times most issues are never resolved. Sometimes just be patient, just give it time, no pressure. Most of us work under pressure, and then societal, this thing comes to play as well. We just need to just give ourselves, take a break, just reduce the societal pressure that's coming, and, you know.
I think that patience would make any marriage work.
Everything really.
So, but that's the patience that we don't really have sometimes in marriage. But I know that once we have it.
So, you know, as you were talking, I was just, you know, I just remember how sometimes you want to get married to someone from a different background, and your parents will say, no, never. I remember, I know how we call them. Our parents are archaic. They are not forward thinking. There's nobody we cannot marry. This life is like this, and then you go and get married, and you two, you come out of the marriage shocked. And, you know, the thing is, context is important, history is important. So now, why do we feel we cannot get married to this culture? What are the things that they do that maybe may just be so against my values? There are some people that when they are married, it's okay, their mother can come and stay, can come and visit. There are some people that will not stand it. In fact, it is uncomfortable that you have your family come and stay in their house. You that you grew up, maybe it's your mother that brought you up, and all your life, this woman has sacrificed for you. Then they'll not tell you, she cannot come and visit. Or even if she comes, she'll just stay one day and she'll go. Auntie, I don't know what kind of patience, but it will jigger the house, as in a lot will happen. So it's important when we hear some of these things to understand why, and then, as you said, communicate beforehand. this is how we do this here. This is how we do this here. You know, it's in the Bible. It says we must be equally yoked. You know, and I guess it's saying spiritually. But I also feel that in a lot of things that physically and mentally that we do, it's important that we become equally yoked by talking about it, understanding each other before you go into that marriage. There was one time we had this former BBN girl. She came and she says, see, I'm Igbo, and then the way I was raised is that I can talk to my elders, I can look at them in the face, and I can, and that she had gone to a friend's house who was Yoruba, and the fact that she was not looking down and genuflecting, immediately they termed her as a bad person. But where she comes from, she's not a bad person, it's just the way she was raised. She said for her, that cultural difference affected that relationship. So sometimes it's good to communicate beforehand, especially if you meet each other in
Sometimes you
school.
don't know.
But that's why you have to communicate. So that's why our parents come in, or those who are older than us or who have gone before us, tell us. I remember when, as a single girl, I used to say to this boy who was from Edo State, Benin, I was like, oh, I can't wait when I get married. I want to get married to a person from Edo State. But he now looked at me and says, even my sister that is Benin like me does not want to get married to. What is it?
And you ended up with a...
Let me tell you why. Because of the dressing, the beads. Okay. What did you say with awful? That is it. The culture, the history, oh my God. Oh, in fact, I feel...
God gave you your heart's
desire.
desire.
And they tell me that I looked like I was from Edo State. I was so excited about... I was like, Auntie, do you know how they are?
Edo people, they run for Edo people.
Exactly.
Yes.
You don't know how they were as a person, but yes, I ended up with an Edo person. But, the thing is, the point of the story here is make sure you understand why you want to be in a place.
Some things as little as how many months before you do naming ceremony. Because we didn't discuss it. I didn't even think it was a discussion. Because I did not even know people wait months before doing naming ceremony. Like, I don't understand. When you give birth in Yoruba land, 7 days.
Yeah, 7 days.
We have done naming ceremony. But apparently, when you are going to the eastern side of the country, you don't do 7 days naming ceremony. They do 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. It just didn't.
Yeah,
we didn't even discuss it until I had given birth, and my mother-in-law just expected that we'll be doing it 3 months when you are doing dedication. I said, no,
okay, maybe
I'm an only child.
Maybe yes,
but thankfully,
7 days.
I have a husband that was willing to communicate and say, oh, see, she's the only head of her mom. Her parents, everybody, she has born 2 boys for her parents. There's no way.
Why? Because for me, my husband's family explained to us, because for us as well, it's 7 days. So they said that in the olden days, what used to happen, a lot of children used to die young.
So you don't name them.
So you don't name them until. So they used to give them at least 3 months. At that time, we have shown that we are here to live.
We do within 7 days, 8 days. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was going to talk about patience.
Okay. Our time has finished. You say it in one. Look, I've been gisting.
Just quickly.
All right.
So, when we use the word patience blanketly, that, it's not enough, it can never be enough. Patience repairs. We don't talk about it to be beautiful. There's a saying in the Quran that beautiful patience. Ask God to give you beautiful patience. Yes. Because patience, when it is not suitable for some situation, you need to address it. Some situation, you need beautiful patience for it, but not just any kind of patience. Some situations, they come in, you test you patiently deal with it, you manage it, but not for a long time. When you the word is, don't be indolent and call it patience. You see something that is bad though, but you want to be called a patient wife. You are idly accommodating it.
I am going to apologize, please, to our YouTube followers and our Twitter. We didn't take your comments. We're so sorry. The conversation on YouTube is so rich. I just came there now and saw some things, and I'm like, oh my God. It's a beautiful conversation, but we're hoping that the goal of the conversation was achieved in that we understand good people can grow apart and divorce. But as much as possible, if we incorporate good communication, we do not take each other for granted, we don't do see-finish, we're patient with one another, we listen to one another, we might be able to avoid this case of 2 good people getting divorced. Also, I love the caller that said internal and external.
I love that.
Yes, factors. Yeah. Deal with the internal factors and expunge external factors. Nobody should be getting divorced because somebody is interfering and you don't have the confidence to face such a person. As always, we are all in our good homes and happily praying that we continue to manage it, and we pray to have more, because the more stable we are as a family unit, the better the society we get to build together. So thank you so much for your contribution, for all our callers, ladies, and the comments that we did not get to take, but we read and appreciate. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.